What is going on, everyone? Welcome to this video. In this video, I'm going to talk about the right time to take on your first virtual assistant. Now, obviously, I'm not sort of a guru with virtual assistants. I've got a couple now, which I recently trained up. I have hired about 7 and some of them left in the past, some of them I had to get rid of. I've currently got 2, so I've got some experience and enough experience, I think, to be able to confidently just explain when I think the best time to take one on is. So without further ado, let's just dive in. By the way, if you do find this valuable, I hate to ask, but if you wouldn't mind just giving me a subscribe and a like, just if you found this video helpful, so I know to do more of them. So virtual assistants. Now, this is an important topic because, in my opinion, I think that some people hire way too early, some people hire way too late. Okay, so I'm just going to give my opinion on this. Okay, so I've only now just started really focusing on building a team in the last sort of 2 months, as in, like, it's a priority. I'm not happy with the day-to-day work that I was doing, previously to having the virtual assistant, because quite frankly it was just too much. And the first things to know is that if you haven't got virtual assistants, if you haven't got people working for you, then you are the bottleneck of your business. There's no doubt about it. You are the bottleneck, okay? There's only, I don't care what anyone says, there's only so far you can go if you haven't got other people in your team, in your systems. So that's the first thing. It's really important, okay? So although that's true, and it is true, there's a big risk where if you haven't got the funds to start with, then you could hire too early. But if you leave it too late, then you put a bottleneck on your business, like I did, especially around Q4 time, where you simply can't keep up with everything. Didn't have the right systems, therefore you've lost a lot of money. So, in my opinion, with the right time, from what I see in my Facebook community, in the other Facebook communities I'm in, from my experience, from what I see, there seems to be some sort of, because I had this as well, there seems to be some sort of mind shift, mindset around being scared of taking people on because you think it's a massive commitment and all that sort of thing. And I completely get that, because I was exactly the same. You almost think that you can do it all. And absolutely, to a certain extent, you can, and it could be right for you. But here's when I think it isn't the right time for you to take on a virtual assistant. So if you haven't even been in the business for, say, 2 months, and this is generally speaking, obviously if you're a very successful business person already, if you've got 50, 100 grand, you want to outsource it from the start, obviously go ahead, okay? But so it all depends how much you're starting with. But I think it's not the right time for you to get a virtual assistant until you've got at least 2, I think minimum 3 months experience in the trenches doing it yourself, okay? That's the first requirement. I think you need at least 3 months, because without that, you're not going to know whether your VA is doing well, whether they're not doing well. You're not going to know what it's actually like to source deals yourself or whatever, or to do the admin yourself, whatever route you want to go, okay? So the first, very most important thing, I think, is to actually do it for at least 3 months. So that's the sort of tick number 1, I think. Absolutely, you have to do it for at least 3, 4, I think probably 5, 6 months, but that's just me. Could do it in 3 to 4 months, okay? So about 3 or 4 months, absolute minimum. I think more 6 months, right? Around about the 6-month mark, if you've got that experience, right, you may not have put that much money into the business, so you may not have much money anyway. Therefore, it would be silly for you to take on a virtual assistant if you can't afford it. So this depends on the amount of money you're going to put in, okay? Now, it would be silly of you to put in loads of money into this business in the first 3 or 4 months, in my opinion, because you just don't know it enough, okay? So no matter what coaches you get, mentors you get, you've got to learn it yourself, okay? So it'd be silly to put in too much money to start. But if you've gone past that first few periods of 4 to 6 months or whatever, when you're actually starting to understand a little bit more about this business, how it works, even though I think it takes longer than that to understand how this works and how much of a risk your investment is, you could obviously take on a virtual assistant in around about 4 to 6 months, right? But only if you can afford it. So there's the first tick box, which is the time in the business, 4 to 6 months, absolute minimum, I think, before you should start coming out of the trenches in any area, because I think you just need to know it. But the second step is that you need to have the money to do it, obviously. So if you've started with £100, which is going to be very hard to do so, then you're not going to be able to afford a virtual assistant in 4 months. You're just not going to be able to do it. But if you have reserves and in around about 6 months or more, you want to plonk in, say, 15, 20 grand, or even say 5 or something, maybe 3 minimum, probably 4. Okay, so then you can afford a VA. If you're putting in less than, and this is just a ballpoint figure by the way, if you're putting in less than 3 or 4 grand, probably 5 minimum, you might not be able to afford a VA at that stage. So the first one is 4 to 6 months minimum in the business. This is my opinion. And the second one is that you need a minimum investment in order to do it. Okay. So to summarize, I think 4 to 6 months in the business, right? If you then want to put more money in, plus 5k, and you're gonna go for it, then you can afford to get that one VA, okay? Because you could leave it longer, but if you leave it longer, although it's gonna be fine, you risk doing what I did, which was leaving it until about a year, okay, to actually properly take it seriously, building a team. And then come Q4, Q3, come later on, you're going to miss out on a lot of the things, because a lot of the sales, a lot of the profit, because you simply haven't got the systems, any systems in place to keep up with it, okay? So you are the bottleneck. I left it too late, but there's some people that I think do it too early. So I think in the best position possible, 4 to 6 months in, and at least 5k worth of investment to then be able to warrant actually possibly, obviously you've got to work this out yourself in terms of your profit, etc., but possibly getting a virtual assistant, your first one. See, that's when I think the right time to do it is, okay? You don't want to do it too early, but you don't want to leave it as late as I did. I tried to start with, but it didn't work, and I gave up. And I shouldn't have given up. I didn't give up because I did it later on. It took me quite a few virtual assistants that I had to hire and then not hire to get used to the hiring process, and that's something you've got to bear in mind as well. So that's my opinion. I think you've got to. You can't leave it too late, but you can't do it too early. So around about the middle length of your journey. That's my opinion on the subject, and I hope that's helped someone. So make sure you subscribe, like if you enjoy the video, please, just so that I can know to start doing some more videos. See you soon.